Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to another episode of my weekly playlist series. We've made it to another Friday here, and so that means it's time for me to share with you guys the games I have been playing during the week, give you guys my thoughts and opinions on them, whether I think you guys should check them out or not. Of course, I do want to hear about the games you guys are playing because I have got some great ideas of games to check out from hearing about the games you guys play. And if you have any suggestions on games you think you should that I should play and check out, please let me know because you guys have also been suggesting some really great titles, and I have a nice growing list. And I've actually been playing some of these games on your guys' recommendations, so I really appreciate those. So please keep those coming. Got two games here, two that I have talked about that I have been working on for the last few weeks. This one here, I think I'm on like week 5 of. I still got a long way to go in it, but I may be shoving it here soon. But that is PS4 title Yakuza 0, which I am a massive fan of the Yakuza series. I first got into this series years ago when the original Yakuza 1 and 2 were released on PlayStation 2, and I had always loved the series, but I had never actually beat them. My brother is the one who got me into the series, and so I'd always been curious about wanting to play Yakuza 0 when it had come out, but I didn't have a PS4. And once I bought my brother's old PS4, I knew that eventually I wanted to get the Yakuza 0 game, and I wanted to play through the entire series. And now we've had Yakuza 6 come out, which I have bought, Yakuza Like a Dragon, which I bought. I still got to get that Judgment game, and I'm just interested in seeing, where the Yakuza series is going to go here in the future. So right now I'm been focused here on Yakuza 0. This is one of those games that is very long, especially if you want to do all the extra content like I like to do. So this game is packed with all kinds of stuff to do, as long with the main story. You have side missions that you can do. You have mini games you can play in the game, like you can go to batting cages, you can go bowling, you can play pool, you can go to a casino and gamble, you can play arcade games like Space Harrier and Outrun, and they have claw machines, which are called UFO catchers. So you have little stuffed animals and toys you can collect in the game, which is pretty cool. There's a huge variety of interesting characters that you run into throughout the story that really help push the narrative. And you meet a lot of unique and interesting people, which I think is great. And there's people that you can become friends with as you do stuff for them, and they tell you more about themselves and their life. And it's just really fun and interesting. And I really, really enjoy it. I've been thoroughly enjoying this story, and I've been doing as much as I can as far as exploring the cities and collecting collectibles. Like there's these little um, trading cards of girls around the city that you can find, and I've been working on collecting those, and then just doing all the side missions I can to help my characters level up. Because one thing I really love about this game is it has RPG elements in it where you can level your characters up by using money, which in Japan they have yen, and the more yen you have, the stronger you can make your character. And one tip that I had mentioned last week is if you ever run into these guys called Mr. Shakedown, so there's a bunch of different ones that I've run into with Kiryu and Goro Majima. They are these really big, buff, tall dudes that pack a really hard punch, and after you beat them, the next time you run into them, they get stronger, and they keep getting stronger and stronger, and have more health bars and health bars. But one of the trick I found is if you buy shotguns when you get to one of the dealers and unlock him, buy those shotguns, and you can do massive damage to them, and you just keep dodging, they'll never hit you, and you can make millions, and I'm even up into the billions of yen, and I've been able to max out my different styles, which I actually just got my third style for Goro now. So I have all three for him, just like I have all three for Kiryu, but I haven't been back to play as Kiryu yet for a while because I'm still playing on Goro Majima, and I'm on chapter 4 of 17, so I've got a long way to go. But I have just been having an absolute blast with this series. I love the goofy comedy that's in the game, just humor too at times. There's lighthearted moments, there's some real feel good moments in the game. There are some sad stuff that happens in the game. There's some real serious and dark themes as well. So I like that it's a mixture of a variety of stuff, and it's just not just one deep depressing story or one happy story. It's a nice mixture and variety of it. And it just keeps you interested in the story and wanting to know what the hell's going on. What's going to happen to Goro Majima, what's going to happen to Kazuma Kiryu. And it's great because this is based in 1988 in Japan, and you get to see them before they became the legends that they are, and the further along in the later games. So that's something I really like, is seeing them, really young in their 20s or their early Yakuza, and you get to see, what makes them and shapes them into the people they are that you play later in the series. So I think that's really awesome. I'm having an absolute blast with it. I really love Goro Majima now. I wasn't a huge fan of his character, but after playing here in Yakuza 0, I'm really liking him a lot. I was just as much as I love Kazuma Kiryu, which he is my absolute favorite for the Yakuza series. But I'm also liking Goro as well. It's a really cool character and really interesting. I definitely think you guys should check out Yakuza 0. Now, I know not everybody's a big fan of the Yakuza series. I know not everyone's into the running around adventure, kind of hack and slash, beat 'em up type of games with a goofy story and the Japanese setting, but it's just something I really love, and I think it's amazing, and it's worth checking out at least some gameplay videos to see if it's a kind of game you might want to play, because it is very fun and enjoyable. Definitely recommend you guys check out Yakuza 0. I may stop playing it after this week, put a little break on it, as I've been playing it for like 5 weeks now, and I might, put it down for a while and then go back to it here later. I'm not sure. I may just keep playing it because it has been keeping me interested and glued to the screen playing this. So we'll see next week. But definitely check out Yakuza 0. And the other game, as I'm still working on, is for the Metro Redux collection. That's Metro Last Light, which I was hoping that I could beat this game in like 10 hours, but I forgot it's like a 20-hour story with exploring that I like to do, and going stealth and trying to get the best ending, and just forgetting about all kinds of stuff that happened in the story because I haven't played him in so long. I did beat him quite a few times on 360. I beat an Xbox One, but I wanted to beat the Switch port, and I'm really loving this. Now, of course, the graphics aren't as good as your Xbox One and your PS4s, or your Series X's or PS5s, which I think they're going to get an upgrade on those here eventually. But they're still really enjoyable. Now, I don't play this on the TV with my Switch docked. I always play this in portable mode because that's one of the reasons I bought it, so I could play it portably. But let me tell you guys one issue I had with it, and that is that the game in portable mode can be very dark, especially in the dark settings. And one trick I found was reading online, because people were complaining about, it's just so damn dark, I can't see shit. And that was to turn your brightness on your screen all the way up and then turn off auto brightness setting, because the auto brightness setting will keep it dimmer. So I turned that off and it was a lot brighter. And another tip I tell you is definitely don't play this game if you're outside, like in a car or any time of it. It wasn't even that sunny of a day. It was kind of cloudy. My wife had to get her hair cut, so my son and I were just hanging out in the car. It was kind of warm out, so we had the air conditioning on. But it was so bright outside that I couldn't see the game. It was like just dark, in some of these settings, so I couldn't actually play it in there, and that kind of sucked. And so I wasn't able to play it until I got home. And once I was inside, you can see the game. I really wish they had a setting for adjust the brightness in game. That's my only complaint with a Switch port, is that it is really, really dark at times. And since it's not hooked up to a TV, I can't adjust the bright setting, because I have my Samsung TV. It's an old TV now. It's from 2013. But I have a special setting just for older games. Like, I'll play some of my PlayStation 1 or 2 games on there, like the old Silent Hills and stuff. And it just doesn't do really well with the dark colors. Like, it's just so damn dark and hard to see. Well, I can adjust the contrast and the brightness on my TV, and I made a special setting just for those kind of games. And it's like night and day when playing those games on that channel setting. And so, I don't want to have to play my Switch on the TV to get through those parts, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of being portable. So, with this game, I can only play it when I'm at home or at nighttime, because I can't play it outside. The light pollution around you and stuff just makes it impossible to see. You just can't see when you're playing the game, and it just defeats. I was like, damn, I wanted to play it, so I just popped in Mario Maker 2 and was playing some of the levels I had downloaded. But just wanted to warn you guys, though, too, if you're looking to get it for the Switch, just realize that you need to be in a kind of inside, kind of like a dark room. I like playing it at nighttime or in our bedroom, because we have a drape up and stuff, and so I can make the room kind of dark in there, and then I can easily see the screen. Now, if I'm in the house, though, of course, the Switch, it still works good, especially with that brightness setting. I can see it, but yeah, that just was one thing that was kind of annoying I wanted to share with you guys. But Absolutely love this game. It's one of my absolute favorite series. I love the Metro games. I have all three of them. The newest one was Metro Exodus, was released on PS4 and Xbox One, and I have the Aurora edition that my wife bought me for Valentine's Day, and it has the season pass. I have all the DLC of that still to beat, which I never did beat, but I did beat these two. But I wanted to beat them on Switch, and I did beat Metro 2033 last year. Really enjoyed the game, and I want to finish beating Metro Last Light. So you play as Artyom. He's a young guy in his early 20s, and the basic premise is that the world has fallen apart, and you're in a post-apocalyptic world. Russia, America, and other countries had all nuked each other, and the world pretty much is gone and destroyed. And 40,000 people in Moscow, Russia, fled to the metro systems underground to survive the nuclear blasts. And so they had to create a new society down there. And so you have different regimes down there. You have the Red Army down there. So the Soviet Reds are actually back in this game. There's been a resurgence of Nazis, so there's a new Nazi party in the game. You have Spartans, which is what Artyom is. They're kind of like the special forces type of dudes who try to keep order. And then you have other random citizens and other little groups who are good. And of course you have your bandits and evil people and stuff. And so Artyom's story takes him through all kinds of different parts of the metro. He also goes up into the ruins of the city, which are irradiated still after 20 years. There's still parts that are radiated, and there's parts where they told you if you were to go into, it could cook you in a few seconds or a few minutes. And of course the air is not breathable up there, so you actually have to have a gas mask, and then with having gas masks, you have to have filters to filter the air, and you only have so much time for those filters, so it's very important to get your filters in the game. There's a variety of difficulty settings, which I really like. You can play in like a ranger mode, it's like a really easy, have a lot of ammo, go guns blazing, or you can play it on a really hard, difficult mode where items are very limited, enemies have a lot of health, they do a lot of damage, and you don't have a whole lot of healing items and ammo and stuff, and so you have to be really careful and pick and choose your fights when you're playing on that hard difficulty setting. But it does make it a very challenging game, but it's really fun. So I like that there's a variety of challenges for every kind of person out there, and you can play this either stealth, or you can play, like which I like to do, or you can play it in guns blazing. You can go out and just kill everybody if you want to. So it's really cool. There's moral choices in the game too, which affect the ending. There's a good ending, there's a bad ending. And it's just an overall very enjoyable story. But this is definitely one of those games where you don't want to jump into Metro Last Light or Metro Exodus first. You want to play Metro 2033, then Last Light, and then Exodus, because it's an overall branching story that takes place. So it's a wonderful trilogy, and all the games are connected to each other. So you definitely need to start with Metro 2033. If you haven't played this series, highly recommend it. Wonderful first-person shooters. The atmosphere is just great. It's dark. It's gritty. The music is eerie at times. The ambience that you see, the lighting is done really well. There's a variety of weapons to choose from. You have some pre-war weapons, which are your best. Your top-of-the-line guns. They don't really jam. They have the best attachments and things like that. And then you have, your post-war guns that people put together from junk stuff that they found after down in the metros and stuff. And so they have one that they call the bastard gun, and you can really tell that they're kind of like put together pieces of crap, and the bullets can get jammed, and it's old and beat up and stuff. And so your best bet is to get the pre-war weapons, as they do the best damage. Now they don't have a currency system because they don't use money because the world ended. So they trade in pre-war rounds, which are little like gold bullets, which you can actually turn on, and they do more power if you want to. However, they're better used to trade with merchants, and you can buy new weapons that way. You can buy ammo. You can buy throwable weapons, like these little flame things, grenades, that kind of stuff, So it's very important to collect those bullets, as you can use them to buy resources. And there's a lot of stuff to explore. There's a nice thing to collect of diaries, which Artyom talks about his experiences as he goes through the story, and they really do enhance the story. So it's great to collect those and every level has one, two, maybe three or four of them. And there is no strategy guide for this, so I definitely recommend getting a guide to know where they are. There's also really cool is there's a bunch of safes in the game, and the safes contain ammo, and they'll contain filters and you needable. They have stuff you need, resources and stuff. So they're worth going out of your way to find. You have to find keys for them, and then you have to go to where they are. And so when you're doing this game in stealth, you're trying to catch keys and sneak around guys to get to these safes. Of course, if you kill everybody, you can just easily then get the key and then go back and unlock the safe. But if you're doing stealth like I am, you got to be careful. The game has a lighting system that is very key to when you want to do stealth like I do. RTM on his left hand on his wrist, he has a little watch type thing that has a little blue light on it, and when the light is lit up blue, it means you're visible to the enemies. And so that's where it's key to stay into the darkness, and you can do that in a variety of ways. Stay to the shadows. If maybe there's a light bulb up there, you can go up and unscrew it, or blow out a lantern, because if you shoot the lantern, it'll create fire and it's going to attract enemies. If you shoot a light bulb two at times, it'll like alert the enemies like, hey, what's that going on? And the music could change a little bit, and then it gets kind of tense as they're starting to search. And sometimes they have helmets with flashlights on them, like a miner's helmet, and they'll turn it on and start searching, looking for somebody because they heard a noise. And eventually, if they don't see something, they're like, oh, it must have been the wind, and they'll turn away. So it's really cool that you can do different things to sneak around enemies. You can also distract them too by, like, if there's a can or something similar and you have a silence weapon, because if you fire a weapon, they'll hear it and go off. But I have silencers that I can put onto my weapons, and you can shoot something and they'll hear a noise and they might actually go investigate, and while they go investigate, you can sneak around them. So I like that aspect that they did with the lighting and everything. The music, I have mentioned, is just amazing. I really love it. Really gets you into playing the game. Highly recommend playing this with headphones on, because you hear so much more that you would miss. There are some really sad, depressing stuff that happens in the game. A really dark setting, story and everything. Because this is not no happy-go-lucky world. This is the world's been destroyed, and people are trying to eke out a living, amongst rats and all kinds of stuff. And it's a very hard life. And so the game reflects that in its story, and I really enjoyed it because it has a wonderful story that you guys definitely should check out. Highly recommend you guys check out the Metro series. Get Metro Redux. I would suggest getting the Switch port if you've never played it before, because you can play in portable mode, but of course your best bet is playing it on PS4 or Xbox One, and now Xbox Series X and PS5, I believe, are getting the upgrades and stuff. If you want to get the best graphics, those would be the ones to play, or of course on the PC. Highly recommend this series. I love it, and it's been a blast. We'll do our quick little recap, and I was talking about Yakuza 0. I think this is like my 5th week I've been working on playing this game. I just absolutely love it. It's become one of my favorite PS4 games right now. I'm just absolutely loving it, playing as Goro Majima and Kazuma Kiryu, learning their pasts and how they became the legends that they are in the series later on. So it's really cool seeing their backstories and stuff like that. There's a variety of story missions to go through, side missions. I have mentioned this before, though, like, this is one of those games where you don't have to worry about doing the main story and losing access to side missions. You can beat the whole main game and then go back and do all the side missions if you want to, because once the game's beat, you can just run around and do whatever you want. So that's something I really like, because usually games like this, there's certain points that are no return. Once you beat it, you can't redo those things you miss. So I like that you have that aspect in the game. RPG elements, you can level up your characters, all kinds of different fighting styles. It is a fighting and brawler game, but it is also heavily story focused. There's a lot of cutscenes to watch, a lot of videos, and it's all voiced in Japanese, which I like. There's no English dub, which keeps it authentic. Japanese voices and stuff, which I really liked. So definitely check it out. And then we also talked about Metro Redux. I'm playing Metro last night. I beat Metro 2033. Wonderful first-person shooter. It's a very dark, depressing story, and it's worth checking out. But I definitely suggest start out with Metro 2033, then go to Metro Last Light, and then finally go to Metro Exodus, because it's a wonderful trilogy, and you need to play them in order. Otherwise, you'll ruin the story, or you'll be lost. If you jumped into the third game, you don't know what the hell's going on with the first two, because each game sets up and the story progresses as you go from one game to the next game. It keeps the narrative going, so it's definitely important to play them in order. You know, it's not like a Far Cry game where the stories aren't linked. These are all linked into one giant overall story, and it's worth experiencing and enjoying, especially if you're a fan of first-person shooters. It is a wonderful game, and I'm having a blast, and I'm hoping to have this one beat here soon as well. Let me know your thoughts if you guys played Yakuza 0 or the Metro Redux series. I want to hear what games you guys have been playing lately, and if you have any recommendations on games you think I should check out, let me know, as you guys always recommend really good titles. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care. Have a great day. Sleepy will see you next time.